Welcome back to Noka Media, your source for Northern Ontario homegrown media content.
We have Bob here first and foremost, and I'll put my handy dandy earphones on so I can actually hear what we're talking about and what you're saying. Good morning, Bob.
Good morning.
Lots going on these days to talk about, and I'm sure there's no shortage of things that you're coming to the show prepared to talk about. Anything other than to start off than what I had mentioned at the beginning of the show with the fatality at Energy Court? Anything else you wanted to start off with?
Just the frostbite. First of all, the main word today is disgusting, okay? We have the fire department who were going there 2-3 times a day to put out the fire for the homeless. And how were they getting this report or call? By the camera of the greater city of Sudbury on the back of the building. And that was confirmed by bylaw, and that was confirmed by somebody else in the city. And how sad can it be to put out a fire when that's their heat and their only heat? Now, I've come up after all through the holidays. We still got a guy with frostbite on his feet in HSN, and that happened Boxing Day, okay? There is so much frostbite out there, it is unreal. And there's nobody to turn to. And as of today, I've discovered that Tom Davies Square is now the Wizard of Oz, where we have a mayor with no heart and we have 12 councillors with no brains. And I hate to tell you, but it's honest. I heard Mike Perron, and that Mike, I'm not picking on you. You were on yesterday. You said that you might have some answers 3 or 4 months from now. Well, you know what? Why don't you go out there for 24 hours and don't worry about your 3 or 4 months? These people are freezing to death. And our mayor, instead of blowing your horn, get out there and call a state of emergency. My God, I was at the celebration of life yesterday. It was so sad. It was so sad. And you know what? I bet you that Tom Davies Square today is already forgotten. Well, we're going to have a lot more. But no. Oh, and these councillors who read off their management sheets, that's all they do. They don't go out there. They don't feel it in their hearts or in their minds. Oh, our manager report says this is, well, it's got to be right. It's got to be right. Well, it's not. And whoever's looking after community services, go find a job, because all you're doing is wasting the taxpayers' money on Band-Aid solutions, et cetera, et cetera. What I've been saying for 15 years, and now this council's been in for over 3 years and wants to say, yeah, tomorrow.
And what you're referring to is the Energy Court encampment that the city has commissioned for the people experiencing homelessness, that they can basically have a commission tent city, which is right off of Lawrence Street behind the beer store and the independent grocer in that area of Lawrence Street. And you're referring to Mike Perron, who's a councillor who, again, I applaud him and his speaking to the public. He was speaking with NOCA Media on a YouTube video that they published, where he just called Mike up out of the blue, and Mike actually answered his phone and did a full-on interview. And so we played that yesterday on the show, and you're talking as well about them referring to the managers and what they are basically saying. And Mike did say several times on that call that when he heard from citizens, he went to management and said, okay, management, what's going on here? And then management told him, okay, this is what's going on. So he kind of did allude to in that interview that whenever there's an issue like this, he'll go to management and they'll tell him, or anyone in the city who's over these things, then he takes whatever they say. It's kind of like he's not really questioning anything management says. He'll just say, well, management said this and that and the other, so I got to kind of go on that. Is that what you were kind of referring to?
Yeah, so AJ, basically what it comes down to, and I heard him mention, oh, I might reach out to Go Give and go out there. And well, you know what? If these councillors really cared, you know what? Management letterhead and writing and what they're stating and et cetera, is put on the left. Mike Perron, who's been invited many times out with me and Tom, they all have, and we have no response. But instead of saying, oh, I might go out one day to the Go Give project, go out and see it yourself instead of going by your management reports.
As far as you know, have any councillors been down to Energy Court, as far as you know, like physically themselves?
One, Mark Signoretti for a photo op.
So when you say photo op, well, do you remember the time and the circumstance around the time he visited?
Yeah, he was on the news standing outside the first
safe injection.
What's that?
Safe injection thing, wasn't it?
No. Oh no, it was after that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, he was out there stating that, we're going to be looking after this and that, et cetera. And he never moved. Nobody's ever been from council through Energy Court.
Now, again,
Okay.
You'll have to excuse me for not knowing the boundaries 100%, and I know downtown is kind of weird the way that it is, but whose jurisdiction is it? Which councillor is Energy falls under?
Ward Cormier.
Oh. And
Yeah.
what is his kind of involvement been?
There isn't. I reached out to him 3 years ago to get the sidewalk curbs at Independent Living downtown rounded, so people who have a hard time walking or wheelchairs can go across the YMCA and back and forth. And nothing's been done. Then I asked for 2 spots of handicap parking in front of Independent Living. Oh, we can't do that because of bylaw. Excuse me? But if we wanted to put a patio up, we could? Like, come on.
Mm-hmm.
The apples with the apples, my friends. None of these management think. None of these management don't know what they're doing. Some do, but in certain sections, they don't. They don't have a clue. Obviously, our roads have proven failure in crisis. Our homeless is failed in crisis. Our addictions are failed in crisis. Our hospital is failure in crisis. So what? And we can't call a state of emergency for people freezing to death? How many more bodies, Mr. Mayor? How many more bodies? And council, how many more reports are you going to read about a bunch of BS where they get their facts from, oh, here and oh, there, everywhere, except for the actual truth and facts of Energy Court and those beautiful people living in there trying to survive. It breaks my heart every morning to go out there and watch 10 to 20 people on fentanyl bent over touching their toes because nobody cares and there's no programming. But you know what? Let's give out $1.4 million for this and that and a bunch of...
Now, you've mentioned a few things, and obviously there's emotion in your voice, and there's, you do this on a daily basis, and so obviously there's frustration there as well. Now, a lot of the things you just mentioned, if just to be devil's advocate too, which is something we should put in place here because we don't have anyone else talking for the other side, let's say. Some of the things you mentioned do not fall under the city's jurisdiction, but the city is dealing with these things, correct? So you mentioned hospital, so how much the hospital isn't really a city thing. The fentanyl crisis, although our citizens are dealing with it, is it really a city thing? It's not really. It's an international thing and a national thing. Our governments are allowing the fentanyl to run rapid. If they're not giving it out themselves, they don't do anything about the illegal fentanyl. And then they're also, through their harm reduction programs, giving out free drugs to people. So it doesn't look like there's help from the federal government there. And so this is a very layered, complex society we live in general. And so
what happens?
Go ahead.
Sorry. So what happens is, yes, we have federal funding. Yes, we have provincial funding. Yes, it comes down to the municipality. So where's all this funding going? And I'm not no god or genius, but it's going to the wrong places, obviously, or we would have success at one thing, but we don't have success anywhere.
And you do mention something that is very relevant and where there's millions of dollars being given to as a solution, or at least, they would hope would go towards the solution, and that is giving it to organizations who say they are the experts and they can do something for these crises. But it doesn't seem to be actually getting to the problem. Like there's money there, it's being given, but it doesn't seem to actually be getting to the streets where it needs to be. And so someone needs to be thinking of bigger picture, and dots need to be connected with solutions so that actual things get done. And the money, if they're going to continue the cash flow, can actually do something. Because I'm sure money is an element of the solution, but if it's just money, it doesn't seem like it's going to do anything, and it hasn't so far. And like you say, millions and millions of dollars. And so what were the situations with the fire? So what are the city's policies when it comes to heating yourself in a tent city in Energy Court, in the city's commissioned tent city? It's freezing cold out there. I live in a tent. I need to be warm. What is it that the city is telling me I need to do?
So basically, you're not allowed propane. Okay. We were fighting. I finally spoke to the fire chief. They're allowed a fire barrel now. They're not. It's not going to be put out anymore by the fire department due to being accessible to heat. The fire chief.
So in the recent past, what would happen is they'd have a communal area. They'd have like a drum, and they'd have a fire, and everyone would kind of gather around and be warm. And the fire department was coming and putting that out
3 times a day.
Wow. Okay.
I got pictures. I got videos. I'm not just shooting my mouth off.
Mm-hmm. So now they're changing that policy?
Yes, I talked to the fire chief the other day for a half an hour. Great guy. I told him that he was the most intelligent, with the biggest heart person I've ever met come out of Tom Davies Square. He said, the barrel's going to be a go. We're not putting it out anymore. It's winter time. These people are freezing, et cetera, et cetera. And like I said, I was totally amazed.
Yeah, because really, there's no risk. There's no risk to a barrel of fire when all there is around it is a bunch of snow. Like, let's say the barrel fell over or whatever. It's just going to go out in the snow. So, really,
yeah, but
right?
AJ, you're talking common sense. Sorry.
Yeah, exactly. So the new fire chief has a little bit of common sense, is what you're saying.
Oh, he's amazing. Yeah, I really like him.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there was a person. Oh, go ahead.
I said that was on a positive note.
Yeah.
Everybody says I'm negative all the time. Oh, what's there to be positive?
Yeah, for sure. So another thing was somebody collapsed. So I know that's been discussed while they were waiting in line to get into the warming center. And I think Mike Perron, alluded to the possibility that this person could have also been on something at the time, and that's the reason why they fell and collapsed. But you had mentioned, I think, in one of the comments I read, that the person was not under the influence of anything. And so did you want to talk to that a little bit?
Oh, that's no surprise. That's the easiest way out for the city now. Anything. A robbery at a store. Oh, the guy was on drugs. Oh, lady collapsed. Oh, it was an overdose. Baloney. Okay? That lady, and I was 40 feet away, made the video, posted it with the police, the ambulance, and the paramedics picking this lady up off the ramp, putting her in the ambulance. She collapsed. She was frozen. That was one of the coldest days of the year so far. So we can't go blaming everything on drugs, and we can't be labeling everybody as addicts and et cetera, et cetera. There's a lot of good people out in that homeless and Energy Court. Let me tell you, very intelligent people. And
go ahead.
I got one question, okay? I say we state a claim of emergency for the homeless. Now I turn around and I look at two counselors. We got LaPierre and we got Perron, who are actual paramedics, who knows all about the addictions, who knows all about frostbite. But do I ever see them speak up or speak out for this, a solution on this? No. Why? Is Mr. LaFave dangling the carrot? Because I'm telling you, when you got 2 out of 12 people who are actually paramedics, who see it, you used to see it daily and et cetera, and has no heart on this, I don't know.
Okay, well, I'll give you the final thoughts and whatever before we go over to Tom. And in between, I do have a story that just came out from Sudbury.com this morning on our Sudbury.news aggregator website. It said majority of city councils silent on last week's terminations. So I kind of want to give you a final say on what you wanted to kind of bring to the show today. And then I'm going to go through that story from Sudbury.com as we're transitioning to Tom, and we'll then we'll talk with Tom. So any last words, Bob?
Any last words? I'm looking for some blankets. If anybody has any, 705-918-9215. And they cleaned house a little bit, but they still got a long ways to go. I can name 8 more. Community services management, get out there, do your job. And all I can say is, Mr. Mayor, it's time for a state of emergency. Take it from there. Here's
Okay,
Tom.
thanks, Tom. So I'm just going to cover this one story here. Good morning, Tom.
Good morning. That's a real mouthful.
I know, but you know what? I got ChatGPT to narrow it down to 3 paragraphs. And so that's at least, if I would have read the whole article, we'd be here probably still tomorrow. So there you go. So do you have any opinions on the cleaning house with these positions in City Hall?
Oh, certainly. First of all, there's a big misconception that there is any management at the city. All there is bureaucrats who follow a rule book, and that is it. Okay? A manager knows how to manage, and a good manager is a leader. We have no good leaders in City Hall. Leaders must follow their people, not dictate to them, not intimidate them, not coerce them, not bribe them. They follow them. If you have good work crews, you work with that crew, not they don't work for you. So the management in our city does not exist, at least not visible to the public. The second thing is we get into all these reasons, and you went through it with Bob on the homelessness, about jurisdictions. Well, if somebody's dying because of something that's happening in our city, what on earth does a jurisdiction have to do with it? Cure the problem. We'll fight over the jurisdiction later. We don't need to have people dying because, well, he said it's not his fault. Oh, he said it's not his fault. Come on. That's grade 3 and grade 4 at school at best. Be adults. There's an old saying, mental maturity, emotional maturity, and physical maturity are 3 givens in this world. Only one of them is mandatory. That's physical maturity. Where is our mental and emotional maturity in our council? That they can approve 400 or 500 million, whatever, for a hockey rink, and they can't afford a, $500,000 building with heating for the cold months of the winter for people who are dying or suffering frostbite? Where's the mental maturity and emotional maturity in that? Where are the ethics in that?
I'd like to know the reason, though, again, right? Just to hear the reason from the city why they can't do what you just proposed.
Oh, well, it's somebody else's problem. They've said that. They're waiting for funding from the province or the feds. Well, these people are dying. I don't give a damn whether it comes out of my current property taxes or my HST taxes. Stop the dying.
And that's
Well,
and you bring up a good, you bring up a good point there. I don't think there's full support behind the new arena or the new library. I don't think that there's support from, I don't think they have the majority of the city's support. They haven't shown that. So that's just me thinking. So they have to prove that the city, the majority of the city, they haven't put out a vote for that just to see if people agree with that, but they're going ahead with it anyways. Now,
if I might just interject there for a moment, AJ, when they switched back to the downtown arena, before they went ahead and approved going ahead with that, and I'll give Councillor Duke credit, he put a motion forward to have a pause while there was public input to this major change in direction. It was voted down. Whoa, what do you mean? The public isn't allowed to express their opinion? What kind of secret society are they running in City Hall?
Well, who's paying for it?
We are. That's all that matters.
So why should you have a say in where your money is going?
Well, we're right now, and this is very apropos to the situation with these terminations. The reason been given for the terminations is we're going in a different direction, a new direction.
Which we'll tell you later, which we're going to tell you later. We're going to tell you our vision after, and you'll see, and it's going to be good. Don't worry. That's what basically they said.
What a pile of horse manure. Like, that is just unbelievable. And they get away with it.
Usually people start with a vision. They don't start doing things and then say, oh, don't worry, it's a good vision. We'll tell you, don't worry, you're going to love it. Don't worry, we're going to do all these things. And at the end of it, we're going to tell you our vision, and it's going to be great.
In 2019, we borrowed $90 million for an arena. And we still don't have an estimate for one. Whoa, wait a minute. Why do you borrow $90 million for a building 6 years before you have an estimate? How did you determine the value? Now, yesterday I was in discussion with an individual in town, a well-thought-of businessman, and he was telling me how great a job our new mayor is doing. I said, you've got to be kidding. He's worse than the previous one. And Mr. Lefebvre, if you're listening, I'm talking about you. And particularly since your photograph in the arts and entertainment blip that was in the paper in the Sudbury Star, where you're grinning and sitting at a piano, and you look like Nero with his fiddle singing as Rome burned, only this time it's homeless people burning. And you are the fiddler. Why are you not paying attention to your people? You are their leader. You're supposed to pay attention to us. And I'm not just being vindictive. I'm not just being cruel. I'm being honest. I would never accept a job that you are doing. My ethics would not allow it. Which brings us to the next point.
Did the city put out a statement or anything about this individual who passed away, like saying they feel for the family and they're sorry that this happened, or anything like that?
I haven't seen one. Maybe they did. But
I haven't either.
No. But this brings out another thing. The Canadian government has a statute and codes for conflict of interest and ethics. Why do we only have an integrity commissioner? Where is the ethics part of it? Who, with any sense of ethics, could keep that event center moving and spending those millions and hundreds of millions and allowing these people to suffer out in the cold during the winter months? I mean, it doesn't cost that much to put them in a building with heat. I mean, a couple of years ago, the Grace Family Church did it in their basement. And the government, the city gave them some money. But then after the fact, the city came back and said, oh, no, we overpaid you. You owe us $30,000 back. Who are these people in our council and our city with no ethics? They may have integrity to something, to their code book or to their protocol book, but they got no ethics.
Now, what's your take on the Auditor General being canceled?
Well, that's another breach of ethics, isn't it? We've decided to go with no oversight. There's no oversight in the money that the government gives to all these organizations that are supposed to be helping the homeless. Where's the oversight? Who's looking at it saying, how was that money used? Now, I don't know whether you've seen it or not, but the CRA published or shared the financial statement of the Go Give. 87% of $900,000 went to administration and management. 900,000 out of $1 million. What did the homeless get? Well, some of the charitable organizations got 60,000, and it's hard to say where the rest went because that wasn't identified in the CRA statement.
Yeah, we had that on the show. We shared all the figures because Bob sent that to me, and then I shared it on the show on maybe a couple of occasions. Yeah.
Great. So what is Go Give doing with the money?
Well,
Where's the oversight?
Apparently, they a lot of their funding has been cut now, and that's been in the news, right? Shortly after that story broke, that that they found themselves with less money given to them, and so they were putting out a plea to the community to help them make up the shortfall.
I am not going to donate to somebody who's using 87% of that money for their own pocket.
And
the
this
work
is
I do.
Yeah, this is something we've seen over the years. Like, you know, you see the commercials for these multinational organizations, UNICEF, you name it. Didn't even want to name a name of an organization. However, you see a lot of them, they're on TV and they're showing somebody's plight. They're saying, here, you can sponsor this person or do this or do that. But then you look at the numbers like the CRA published for Go Give, and it's been similar for years, like where they say like point whatever of your donations actually go to the cause that you are donating to. Most of it goes to the administration costs and management costs and all the other costs of the organization, not the actual thing that the organization is set up to solve.
Yes, but even the free things that they're supposedly do. Where were the Go Give people when the firemen came and put out the fire in the barrel? Where were the Go Give people standing there saying, hey, no, these people need this for warmth?
Well,
where were they?
You might know more than me. What is the Go Give's mandate? Like, what are they there to do?
I have no idea. Where do you find it?
Might be on their website.
No.
They don't have a mandate on their website of what their organization stands for and what they're there to do?
Oh, yeah, they're there to help the homeless and to give guidance and education and blah, 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 blah. But what do they actually do on the ground? How did that fire get going? If they have people on the ground, walking the grounds, keeping an eye on making sure people are safe, how did it happen?
What about security at Energy Court? What's up with that? Do they have any security there?
Oh, of course. There's two of them.
Inside.
But they sit in their cars or in the trailer and wait. If there's a fight, they'll go out and see about the fight. But that isn't security. Every store in town now has security at the door. What does it do? Well, they make sure that the guys that come in and shoplift can get out safely without being attacked.
It is backwards.
For our city.
It is backwards. I was in Timmins, however, like 2 months ago, And someone felt emboldened because more people feel emboldened because of what you just said. They're like, oh, no one's going to do anything to me. I can steal anything I want. So they had a duffel bag. They filled it full of whatever. And they left the grocery store, which was the Metro in Timmins. And I was like, yeah, he's just going to get away. I told my wife, because that's the way it is now. But an employee from the Metro tackled the guy in the parking lot. And I think the person was saying, you can't do this to me, you know, you're not allowed, stuff like that, you know, and they're like, oh, you can't steal things from the store, and took the bag away.
Okay, well, let's move on to another one. The
Sure.
big thing that comes up all the time with the homeless is the tents. Oh, they're a fire hazard and they're this and they're that. Well, I'm sorry, the indigenous have been heating their living quarters in tents, they're called teepees, for millennium. They don't burn down their tents. They don't suffocate anybody. They have an opening at the top. All the fumes and that are harmful to you because of the heat rise and go out through the hole in the top. Where is our group that's dealing with the homeless? Who is teaching them how to have a tent that's safe?
I saw a comment on yesterday's show, because I'm trying to read some of the comments as we're talking here, and I'll read some, and I can't read them all. But one person said, what about prospector tents? Like, why doesn't somebody donate a bunch of prospector tents, which are totally, like you're saying, they're meant to be out in the winter and meant to have a stove in there, and they're large, so you can almost have a communal tent where a bunch of people can gather. So not just a barrel in the open air where you barely can be warm, maybe a fire in a tent where the heat can kind of stay in the tent a little bit, keep people warmer.
Oh, for goodness gracious sakes, you don't have to go that far, AJ. The Boy Scouts do. The Boy Scouts. These are young lads. They're tents. They go out and pitch tents in the middle of winter with heat inside to keep them warm. They do it safely.
You just brought something up, Tom. I think it's a great idea. So, you know, we have all these programs out there and stuff making millions of dollars and stuff, and we don't really see it on the ground. What if the Boy Scouts were to do a community project where they went there and just kind of worked with people and give some tips and we're along, you know what I'm saying?
According to the website, that's the job that Go Give does. They educate and they train people.
Yeah.
Seriously, that's on the website.
Well, I'd rather have the Boy Scouts down there, and they would learn a little bit about people in vulnerable situations at the same time. So it would be a great learning experience for young men, and they would be very helpful as well. And that's where grassroots type things really work, and it wouldn't cost anything.
The military cadets.
There you go.
Militia.
Yeah.
They camp out in the wintertime. They have some big halls on, is it not Ontario Street, the next one over, where they go. They know how to survive in the cold. Get them out there teaching these people how to build tents that can be kept warm.
Is it just me, or do you get the sense that the city's just kind of thinking this is just going to be a temporary thing? We're just going to have to kind of get through this thing until they have some other kind of thing up their sleeve or whatever they think is going to happen. Maybe laws will be tougher and you can just get rid of the homeless, or offer them all made, come down there with a big building, a made building, which would cost $500 million, and it's going to be whatever, and you can come in and get made, no problem. Is that what they're thinking is going to happen in the future?
Absolutely not. Their only objective is to push it into the background and make it look like we're doing something until I qualify for my pension. And then I'm gone and I won't care.
Unfortunately, I think a lot of people share your
That's
view.
on the harsh, but it. No, I appreciate the fact that Mike Perron puts himself out there. But when he comes on and he tells everybody that, oh, don't worry, we're going to solve the homeless crisis by 2030. That's 5 years of more fatalities, more frostbites, everything. 5 more years. What are you doing in the meantime?
Now, unfortunately, our show, we're at the end of it, but I'll give you 20 seconds of what you can say in 20 seconds to wrap things up, Tom.
All I can say is this winter has made me so ashamed to tell anybody that I come from the city of Greater Sudbury, mainly because of the political lack of oversight, lack of foresight, lack of ethics, and it is rampant. Our council suffers none of those afflictions. And 20 seconds is up. Thanks, AJ.
It's right around there. Thanks, Tom. Thanks, Bob. Always great to have you guys on. And I know there's not always happy people, out there because you guys are on the show, but we appreciate you coming on. And it's not easy to hold people accountable, and it doesn't always sound nice, and sometimes we're frustrated as well. But I think you are a voice that's needed, and there are many people who feel the way that you do as well. You were going to say something, Bob?
Yes, not I, but we will do this.
There you go. Appreciate you guys for being on the show. And it's all the people that were on. It's our show. This is your show on your station, Sudbury News Talk on CKLU 96.7 FM. Grateful to have Bob and Tom on today. Thankful to have all your comments. We'll be back same time, same place, on the same platforms, God willing, on Monday. Have a great weekend, everyone. And remember to stay aware. Like, share, take care. Stay tuned now for Earshot Daily on CKLU 96.7 FM. Ciao for now. Have a safe and happy weekend. Bye-bye.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. If you have a story or event you would like to see featured on this channel, just send us an email at nocaudits@gmail.com.